there. Welcome to a higher dimension. I'm Gloria Danvers from Gloria Danvers Hypnosis in Orlando, Florida, and I'm your host for a higher dimension. As a hypnotherapist, I work with everyday people who are having extraordinary experiences in the fascinating world of past life regression, therapeutic hypnosis, psychic abilities, spiritual awakenings, and paranormal encounters. Every Tuesday morning at 6 a.m., join me and my guests as we explore their powerful stories and extraordinary journeys together. And sometimes it's just you and me. Solo episodes where I dive deep into metaphysical insights, spiritual concepts, and mind-expanding ideas that I think you'll find both useful and fascinating. Not only will you hear incredible stories, but we'll talk about what comes next. What happens after these life-shifting moments? How do they change you? Who are you now? What truths have you uncovered? We'll explore big questions through deep, eye-opening conversations that you don't want to miss. If you're interested in working with me and having your own transformational hypnosis experience, you can reach me at gloriadanvershypnosis.com. If you're here, chances are you're ready for something different, ready to explore yourself in the higher realms. So shoot me an email or book a free consultation. Maybe it's time for you to shake up what you think you know about the world, about yourself, who you've been, who your friends really are, and where you're headed. You can catch a higher dimension on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Podchaser, Spotify, YouTube, and iHeart.com. But right now, let's sit back, relax, and uncover the hidden depths of the human experience right here on a higher dimension. Hey there, you soul travelers. It's Gloria from Gloria Danvers Hypnosis in Orlando, Florida. And today, we're going in deep. We're talking about betrayal, the kind that cracks you open, that flips your world inside out and leaves you questioning everything, your worth, your instincts, even your spiritual compass. But what if betrayal isn't just a wound? What if it's a wake-up call? What if it's a sacred disruption sent to realign you with your truth? Even if it has to burn through illusion to do it. That's what we're exploring today. The spiritual role of betrayal. The hidden purpose behind the pain. And what it means to rise not in spite of it, but because of it. I have clients who come into my office completely shattered by relationship betrayals. By the time they get to me, it often feels like there's nothing left. There's no hope, no self-esteem, no sense of safety, sometimes not even a sense of self. And always the biggest question is, why did this happen to me? And the relationship could be with anyone. Your parents, your children, your lovers, your friends. Betrayal is an equal opportunity slayer of hearts. And it's not just the human experience of it, the tears, the gut punch, the nights you can't sleep because everything you thought that was real wasn't. We're asking something bigger. Was this betrayal divine retribution? A cosmic punishment? Or was it divine guidance? Was it a push from spirit to get you off the path you had no business being on? We're also going to talk about the spiritual role of the betrayer, and yes, they do have one, and the sacred task of the betrayed. So take a breath with me. Shake off whatever you've been carrying, and let's begin. We can start where most of us live, in the pain of it. Betrayal cracks you open. It shows you just how fragile trust is and just how fast a forever can evaporate. You replay the moment you found out. You obsess over the lies. You ask yourself, why would someone who says they love me do this? Whether it was cheating, deception, abandonment, or manipulation, then you know it's not just emotional. It is spiritual whiplash. And you're wondering, what did I do wrong? Did I manifest this? Is the universe punishing me? But what if it's not a punishment at all? What if it's divine redirection? What if betrayal is actually a sacred detour? What if it's spirit saying, enough pretending, enough settling? You have outgrown this version of your life and you're not listening. So I'm tearing it down for you. Painful? Oh, yes. Necessary? Also, yes. Here's the thing. When you're stuck in a soul contract that's expired, when you're pouring life force into something that's draining you, when you're ignoring the red flags because love wants to believe, the divine steps in. And it doesn't always whisper. Sometimes it yells. Sometimes it shattered what you thought was sacred to bring you to what actually is. Betrayal clears illusion. It forces awakening. And in many cases, it returns you to yourself. Betrayal forces what love couldn't. Evolution. It delivers a spiritual rupture that demands reconstruction. And while the ego screams, this shouldn't have happened, the soul often whispers, it had to. This next part is going to be really hard to hear, but stay with me. The betrayer, they're not just a villain in your story. They're a shadow teacher. A soul who in some strange way agreed to play the dark role so that your light could rise. This doesn't mean that you excuse their behavior. This doesn't mean that you let them back in. But from a spiritual perspective, they were part of your curriculum because your soul required the trigger. Some people are sent into your life not to love you, but to initiate you. They wake up your discernment. They force you to set boundaries. They teach you the value of truth by breaking it. In the Christian Bible, think about Judas. Without the betrayal, there's no crucifixion. And without the crucifixion, there's no resurrection. Now, I'm not saying go out and thank your betrayer, but I am saying their role was necessary. So when we stop asking, why did they do this to me? And start asking, why did my soul allow this moment now? We reclaim authorship of our story. And that's where the medicine is, in the shift from victim consciousness to sacred reclamation. If the betrayer is the initiator, then the betrayed becomes the alchemist. Your role is not to stay in the fire, but to walk out carrying the gold. So you can transmute shame into sovereignty. You can transform heartbreak into vision. You turn collapse into a resurrection. And this is spiritual stewardship. You take what was meant to break you, and you build temples with it. Not for the betrayer, but for the parts of you that forgot their own divinity. So if the betrayer is the initiator, what are you? You are the awakener. You are the soul that survives the wound and turns it into wisdom. You are the one that rebuilds the altar, not around someone else's promises, but around your own truth. Your task is not to stay in pain. Again, It's to extract the gold from it. And I want to be real here. That takes time. And it takes rage. It takes nights where you're crying into the sheets and the mornings that you just want to shut down. But eventually, the sacred task does come forward. There are places in you that only pain can access. Places that are too sacred, too hidden, and too protected by the roles we play and the stories that we've sold ourselves. When betrayal comes, it tears down the beliefs. It tears down what was false. It strips you down until you have nothing left but the truth. And when you stand in the rubble, you're dazed and emptied, the truth does rise. It's raw, it's wild, and it's uncompromising. And that's not just healing. That's rebirth. It whispers, this pain has a purpose. This wound has wisdom. This story is not where I stop. It's where I start. So I want you to try this. And if you're driving or operating heavy machinery, do want to take a second to say, please skip this part of the podcast and come back to it later. For those of you that are in a comfortable, safe setting, close your eyes, take a deep breath in, blow out, and visualize the moment that you found out. Now zoom out. Imagine your higher self watching it all unfold. See how that moment, awful as it was, broke you open. See how it shook you awake. Maybe it helped you leave. Maybe it pushed you to speak. Maybe it made you remember your value. And so you can say to yourself, I didn't deserve the betrayal, but I damn sure deserve what it woke up in me. And breathe that truth in. So is betrayal a divine punishment? No. It's divine intervention. And no, it does not feel holy when it's happening. But later, and sometimes years later, you realize that that moment didn't destroy you. It delivered you back to yourself, back to your soul self, back to the truth that you buried to keep the peace. And here's what I want you to remember. The betrayer may have broken the agreement, but they did not break you. The pain isn't the end. It's the portal. And your soul came here to rise. So I'll leave you with some words to carry. And it's things I've said to myself many times because I've experienced this. I've been shattered and then I've rebuilt myself from the pieces. And so I bless the pain that pushed me into power. I see the sacred in what once broke me. My soul is wiser now, and I'm walking in my own truth. I choose the gift. Thank you for being with me in this space today. If this episode spoke to you, share it. Someone out there is still blaming themselves for a betrayal they didn't cause, and maybe they need to hear this. So until next time, stay awake, stay sovereign, and stay sacred to yourself and your divine purpose. See you next time. And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that I've managed to pique your interest, raise your curiosity, give you something to think about, teach you something that you didn't know before, or send you down a major rabbit hole. If you're curious about what I do, shoot me an email. Go on to my website, gloriadanvershypnosis.com, and book a free consultation. Let's discover something about you that you didn't know. I'll be back next week, And until then, stay curious. Stay open to all the things that come in for you through higher dimensions.